that morning seemed like any other. The small town of Paradise, California, nestled at the base of the Sierra Nevada foothills, was home to a close-knit community made up of families, retirees, and nature enthusiasts. Life here was typically serene, surrounded by the natural beauty of the landscape. But on that morning, tranquility turned into a nightmare when a spark from a power line near the town ignited a disaster that would go down as one of the deadliest and most destructive wildfires in California's history. The fire, later known as the Camp Fire, began with a small spark but spread with terrifying speed within minutes. The conditions that day created the perfect storm for catastrophe. Prolonged drought, gusty winds, and dry vegetation provided the ideal fuel for the flames to grow uncontrollably. The fire moved faster than anyone could have imagined, consuming everything in its path. The blue sky above Paradise soon darkened as thick smoke billowed upward. Black and orange clouds, laced with the acrid smell of burning wood and ash, became the first ominous signs for residents. Emergency sirens blared, but the fire outpaced the warning systems, leaving many unaware until the flames had already reached the outskirts of town. As residents struggled to grasp the unfolding chaos, the inferno breached Paradise's borders. Fire in Paradise immerses viewers in this chaos through raw footage and survivors' testimonies. Residents recount how an ordinary morning suddenly descended into horror. Some heard distant explosions, others saw flames racing down the hills, inching closer to their homes. There was no time for deliberation, only one choice remained: to flee. Evacuation quickly turned into total chaos. The main road out of Paradise became choked with vehicles, creating a nightmarish traffic jam. But the fire's relentless advance trapped many in their cars, surrounded by thick smoke. Some abandoned their vehicles and fled on foot, desperately searching for a way out through the encircling flames. Eyewitnesses described the scene as apocalyptic. The sky, cloaked in darkness, lit by embers floating in the air, and unbearable heat made every step feel like a fight for survival. Parents clutched their children, shielding them from the ash and debris, while others wept, praying for a way out. The failure of the warning system contributed to the devastating death toll. Many residents never received an official alert before the fire reached their homes. For those who managed to escape, sheer luck often played a crucial role. Some were rescued by firefighters who risked their lives in the blaze, while others found escape routes through nearly impassable terrain. The documentary also highlights the extraordinary bravery of first responders, including firefighters and rescue teams. They worked tirelessly to evacuate residents despite the life-threatening conditions. Their accounts reveal the immense difficulty of combating a disaster that evolved so quickly and unpredictably. Paradise, once a peaceful haven, was reduced to a haunting wasteland. Homes were leveled, vehicles incinerated, and lush forests turned to ash. For its residents, the scene was a nightmare without end. As the fire drew closer, Paradise became a living hell. The raging flames devoured everything in their path, from homes to dense forests, at an astonishing speed. Those who hadn't evacuated faced impossible choices: risk running through the fire or stay behind and hope to survive. These split-second decisions often meant the difference between life and death. The town's main road, typically the lifeline for its residents, turned into a deadly trap. Vehicles attempting to flee were caught in gridlock as the fire crept closer. In some areas, the heat was intense enough to melt metal and shatter car windows. Witnesses described it as surreal, like a disaster movie come to life, with their lives on the line. One of the documentary's most gripping stories centers on a mother driving her children through the firestorm. With every passing meter, the smoke grew thicker, reducing visibility to almost nothing. The searing heat made breathing nearly impossible, and her children's cries echoed from the back seat. Yet, with unyielding determination, she pressed on, even when all hope seemed lost. For those stranded outside their vehicles, the terror was unimaginable. People ran down the streets with only the clothes on their backs, desperate to outrun the flames. Many sought refuge in open spaces like parking lots or town squares, hoping these areas would be safer. But the fire respected no boundaries. Places thought to be secure often became deadly traps. Amid the devastation, stories of heartwarming heroism emerged. Firefighters and first responders worked tirelessly to save lives, not only battling the flames but also ensuring as many people as possible could escape safely. In one recorded moment, a firefighter was seen guiding an elderly resident, barely able to walk, through debris-laden and flame-engulfed paths to safety. Yet this disaster wasn't solely a tale of human bravery. Survival for many came down to sheer luck. Some found refuge in a school that happened to lie outside the fire's trajectory. Others escaped alive after stumbling upon a less congested back road. Not every story ended in survival, however. The campfire proved inescapable for many. In some areas, the fire advanced so rapidly that residents didn't have time to leave their homes. Several victims were found in their vehicles, trapped as the fire cut off all escape routes. Such tragedies serve as stark reminders of the disaster's brutality. Fire in Paradise depicts this destruction with raw and painful honesty. Aerial footage reveals a town in ruins, homes reduced to ashes, cars stripped to skeletal frames, and forests transformed into charred wastelands. No corner of Paradise escaped the fire's wrath. As residents fled for their lives, the inferno raged with uncontrollable intensity. Many described it as a firestorm, a massive, unstoppable force driven by powerful winds that carried embers far beyond the fire's origin. Areas once thought to be safe quickly became danger zones. The fire wasn't just about visible flames, it was the suffocating smoke that darkened the skies and shrouded Paradise in an eerie orange glow. Survivors who escaped described the scene as apocalyptic, where all they could do was survive one more minute, and then another, as they clung to hope in the face of overwhelming terror. When the fire finally began to subside, Paradise was unrecognizable to those who once called it home. The peaceful town, once lush and serene, had been reduced to blackened rubble, its streets filled with ash and the remnants of lives destroyed. Of its 27,000 residents, many managed to escape, but the toll was staggering. 86 lives lost, hundreds injured, and thousands left with nothing. The survivors, Joy Beeson, Beth Bowersox, Abby Davis, Jennifer Johnson, Madeline Johnson, Noah Johnson, Ray Johnson, Mary Ludwig, Rob Nichols, Sean Norman, and Daisha Williams, share first-hand accounts of the harrowing events during the 2018 campfire that ravaged Paradise, California. Footage shown in Fire in Paradise provides a haunting glimpse of the aftermath. Main roads were lined with the skeletal remains of abandoned vehicles, their owners having fled on foot in desperation. Homes were reduced to their foundations while schools, stores, and churches, the heart of the community, were now just memories. Survivors faced the bitter reality that they hadn't just lost their homes but also the sense of community that made Paradise a safe haven. The documentary portrays their struggles to locate missing loved ones, often discovering heartbreaking news. Many families were shattered, losing not only their possessions but also the lives of those they held dear. The trauma carried by survivors is profound. Some cannot sleep at night, haunted by visions of flames and the cries of those pleading for help. Others grapple with survivors' guilt, feeling the weight of having escaped when those around them did not. One firefighter's account of losing a colleague while trying to save residents is among the most heartbreaking moments of the film. Physical scars are another heavy burden. Many residents suffered severe burns, while others developed respiratory problems from prolonged exposure to thick smoke. Yet these physical wounds are just a fraction of the pain, they pale in comparison to the emotional scars that may never heal. Rebuilding Paradise seemed an almost insurmountable task. With most of its infrastructure destroyed, residents faced a difficult decision: return to rebuild or leave the town behind forever. While some chose to return, motivated by memories of the idyllic town they once knew, many found it too painful to start over in a place so heavily shadowed by tragedy. Government and aid organizations stepped in, but the scale of the disaster made recovery painfully slow. Limited funding left families struggling to secure temporary housing. The documentary shows survivors gathering in community centers, sharing stories and offering each other support. Amid deep sorrow, they found glimmers of hope in their shared resilience. Fire in Paradise also examines the broader questions raised by this tragedy. Could it have been prevented? Many believe the disaster resulted from a perfect storm of climate change, negligence by utility companies, and poor forest management policies. The film underscores that human decisions played a significant role in creating the conditions for such a catastrophic fire. One of the documentary's most poignant moments features a survivor reflecting on their hope for the future. Though Paradise lay in ruins, they believed the tragedy could serve as a powerful lesson to prevent similar disasters elsewhere. Yet the lingering question remains: will the world listen? Amid the destruction and despair, Fire in Paradise delivers a powerful message about human resilience in the face of calamity. The residents of Paradise displayed extraordinary courage, both in their fight for survival and in their efforts to rebuild their lives. This documentary serves as a stark reminder that while nature's fury can be devastating, the human spirit remains unyielding. Fire in Paradise, 2019, is a harrowing tale of destruction, loss, and bravery. It offers an unflinching portrayal of the campfire tragedy, shedding light on the immense power of nature and the consequences of climate change and human negligence. More than just a documentary, it is a call to action to prevent such catastrophes from happening again.